Hello everyone. It's Rosie and welcome to my channel where I explain and simplify your HOA, CC and Rs, covenants and bylaws so that it's easier to understand and remember. Understanding your homeowner's bylaws is very important so that you don't make costly mistakes and will save you a ton of headaches later. I apologize for my long absence, but it has been a little hectic in my household in the last several weeks. In my last episodes, I've explained quite a bit of rules and stipulations written on Georgia's standard bylaws, and how they could be abused by our own board members. Some people have found it a little overwhelming to remember and understand. So today, I decided to do a little bit of storytelling. I want to share with you a true story when our HOA had to pay a homeowner in my neighborhood almost $13,000 in settlement fees to a lawsuit she filed against the association. This is after they tried to fine her for the fence she put up at her property. It all started just months after she moved into the neighborhood. Just a few weeks after she bought the property, she sent her application to put up a fence to the community manager's office via email. After several weeks of waiting and didn't get any response, she decided to mail another application. She didn't get any response from the company until almost 2 months, and their response was in a form of a question to which the answer was already given in the original application. There were numerous emails that had gone back and forth in a span of several weeks, but the managing company were only giving her bits and pieces of advice but hasn't sent her an approval. Since the contractor that the homeowner hired was already paid, he has the obligation to complete the job, but he had to leave the state to work on another project soon. The homeowner went to read the covenant and found out that the architectural committee is obligated to give their response to an application within 45 days after it is submitted, otherwise, the application is automatically approved. It dawned on her that the very first response she received from the managing company about her application was 52 days after it was received. Realizing that her fence is now technically approved, she instructed the contractor to build the fence where they originally planned to set it up. One of her immediate neighbor who was part of the architectural committee saw what was happening and immediately sent an email to the board of directors. These people have just moved here from California. They are putting up a fence at the edge of the driveway, and right behind the mailbox. I am not sure if anyone from the board has greeted them. I suppose that it's someone on the board's job to tell them how things go around here. The fence, I am not sure where they are going from here, but it is only phase 1. The head of the architectural committee paid the homeowner a visit, and looked at the fence to see where it was being erected. He then instructed the homeowner to move it where it was going to cut her backyard in half. She agreed to move it, but not to where her yard would look a lot smaller, but the ACC chair insisted on his first instruction. After they couldn't reach an agreement, the homeowner asked to meet with the rest of the committee members. At first, the chair declined to grant the homeowner a meeting to her disbelief. But after she insisted, she was finally granted an appointment with the rest of the committee, which was several weeks away. At the meeting, all the members of the ACC committee attended and one board member. The homeowner presented her case, and mentioned that she had no choice but to get the fence up due to her contractor leaving for another project that the managing company seemed to have not conveyed to the group, and was not taken into consideration. The only board member present responded and told the homeowner that her timeline is of no concern to them. The homeowner then reminded all of them that her fence, where it is currently set up, is approved according to the mandates of the association's bylaws. The ACC chair refuted her claim, and told her that they did not receive the application until just a few weeks ago. In the end, both parties were not willing to compromise and no agreement was reached. Immediately after the meeting, the homeowner received a letter from the managing company advising her that she is in violation of the rules, and if her fence is not moved where the ACC chair wanted, she will be fined $25 per day. The homeowner wouldn't budge and her daily fines began immediately. A few more days passed, and this time, the homeowner came home from work finding a notice that was left by her door. It was a notice of violation from the city's police department. When she called the officer who left the notice, she was told that a neighbor had called complaining that her fence was violating the city's ordinance. She explained that before the fence was erected, she checked the city and the county's fence ordinance, and the rules said that if the fence is less than 6 feet in height, she doesn't need to apply for a permit. She also mentioned that she was already dealing with the HOA regarding it. The police confirmed the rule and apologized that the homeowner is being given a hard time by her association due to a small matter. A few weeks passed. There was an invitation posted on the association's signage inviting all the members to attend a summer get-together at the pool area. Being new to the community, the homeowner with her then 9-year-old son came hoping to meet and introduce themselves to the neighbors. When they arrived, her son immediately started playing with some of the neighbors' children and the homeowner started to get along with the neighbors. The ACC chair spotted her from afar and decided to call the board member who was also present at the previous ACC meeting. A few moments later, the board member came to the pool and went directly to her and asked her to leave. When she asked why, she was told that she was not in good standing with the neighborhood and that she owed the association more than $4,000 in fines for the illegal fence that she put up at her property. When she refused to leave, the board member threatened that he was going to call the police. Confident that the police will not get involved in a civil dispute, she dismissed the director's intimidation. Lo and behold, less than 10 minutes later, 2 police officers arrived and asked that she and her son leave the party. When she asked why she is being forced to leave, the officer said that the director called the station claiming that there is a trespasser in the community's pool area and that trespasser was her and her son, and they needed to be removed. The officers insisted that they have to leave even after she told them that she paid her dues in full and has all the right to use the community's facilities. At this point, my neighbor had no choice but to file a lawsuit against the HOA, not only because of the pool incident, but also because the association could put a lien and eventually foreclose her property to force her to pay all the unfounded fines that the association is imposing upon her. The association was sent a copy of the lawsuit and her lawyer explained that there are a few things that the association has not done right. First is their failure to recognize the 45-day obligation to act mandate of the bylaws, and second is that they had no right to remove the homeowner from the community's common area. In our bylaws, it is stipulated that if a homeowner is not permitted to use the amenities, a letter has to be sent through a registered mail advising of the restriction along with the reasons why, which they did not do until after the pool incident. This is another rule violation on the part of the association. At the settlement meeting, the parties were placed in separate rooms and the mediator was going from one room to another conveying the wishes of each parties. When she was asked what it would take to settle the matter, she demanded that the association agree to let her fence remain where it is and that her full legal fees be paid by the association. After the mediator passed the message and came back to her room, she said that the board president agreed for her fence to stay as is. However, they were only willing to pay her $3,000, which is far less than the amount of her full legal fees. This negotiation went on the whole day until the mediator finally told her that the only thing that is keeping the settlement meeting open is her inability to accept the monetary offer of the association. The neighbor decided to make the mediator realize the kind of people she is dealing with and told her that if the board member writes an apology letter to her 9-year-old son for calling the police and asking him to leave the pool, she will pay her full legal expenses, and she will not ask the association for a single cent. And just like that, the meeting ended with the board's president agreeing to all her demands. The association and the managing company both paid her full legal fees that amounted to almost $13,000 and agreed to keep her fence where it was originally installed. While the president and the other board member who called the police had both resigned since, this neighbor of mine continues to fight our board members and community managers for their lack of ethics, integrity, continued display of incompetence, abuse, and taking full advantage of the association rules that are heavily inclined to favor the board's decisions, regardless of their lack of training, experience, and without the requirement of checks and balances. The ACC chair who refused to acknowledge the obligation to act mandate of our bylaws that led to the lawsuit, and cost the association a substantial amount of money is now the appointed president. He has served in over 3 years holding the same position when our bylaws clearly state that board members have a term limit of 2 years, and that they should only hold the same position for 1. In the first week of November, we had our yearly meeting and for the second year in a row, we reached a quorum in order for us to have an election. This is due to the incumbent president, who is serving for more than 3 consecutive years, collecting enough proxy signatures so that he can make a decision on behalf of the members, who to elect as our new board of directors. Not surprisingly, He chose to re-elect himself, even though there are 2 or 3 other neighbors who are far more eligible than him, volunteering to be on the board this year. Our association filed a lawsuit against a homeowner with disability asking this resident to pay more than $20,000 in dues and some trivial violation fines in the middle of a pandemic. Another homeowner is being asked to pay more than $10,000 for failing to pay 3 years of dues that should only cost less than $2,000 with 10% annual interest. While these things are happening, our board of directors are trying to block residents to get access to the association's financial records as our most current forensic auditing reveals discrepancies in their expenses, invoices and accounting records. As a homeowner, it is frustrating to know that there are no laws that could protect us from these types of predators who has the legal capability of taking our home through property liens and foreclosure. I again urge you to write your representatives and be an advocate for the creation of state laws that could protect homeowners like us, who are being taken advantage of by people who are hungry for control, power and displays no hesitation to use their authority for their own personal gain. In behalf of my family, I wish you all good health, happiness and happy holidays.